didn't really realize how hard it was.
I just to let you all know we're live on the internet right now.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So make sure you say only nice things to each other and not everyone.
Nice to meet you. Yes, Toddler. Awesome. Yeah. Welcome. Yes. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Hello.
It's,
Clear class. All right.
The keys to breakfast.
Hey, if you can play soccer for 3 hours, and I don't have to go whining afterwards, this is more soccer than anything. I mean, honestly. I mean, he. So, how are you? Good.
Next
Tell
year,
you about
probably just
soccer
me.
camp.
It's so informative.
I'm just trying to keep track of everything on the calendar. Every person I talk to says, I
So the
absolutely must
cookies were baked
attend
on the premise.
this meeting,
And they're not
that
for
meeting.
everything here.
Okay. We're keeping it straight, keeping it straight.
Yes, that's for sure.
One of my twins, though, is funny. He was just, yesterday, he was crying. He was like crying. I've never seen him so upset that he got to go to soccer camp and he has to go to spring practice. And this morning, he woke up, like, before I left the house, he was like, oh, it's been there. I was like,
So how your brother goes swimming.
you're in 5th grade.
Especially in today's heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Today's heat, tomorrow's supposed to be hotter. It's a good thing that your season is finished. Because I got that true.
Yes, yes, that is true.
So literally mosey on someplace.
How you doing? Welcome.
I'm back, hi, I'm Nicole.
Nicole, and
Yeah.
we got,
We've met a
son.
few times, daughter,
Oh, what
my new
is-
son now, pre-K.
Oh, nice, awesome, awesome, welcome, welcome. She, is that the one?
She is,
She have one younger.
oh yeah, that's her little brother.
Oh,
That's her little brother. We just came from another orientation. He goes to Chinese school.
oh,
So
nice.
he
nice.
goes there
Awesome.
all the time and she's here now, so.
Awesome.
Good day for orientation. Everybody's here and
Is everybody, is anybody warm? I can try to adjust the, are you okay? Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Just making sure.
They're all in there already. Those cookies are good, they're warm.
Oh, yeah.
They're just made. It's very exciting. That's what he does. Yeah, I'll sit in Lauren's vision. Used to be sitting in meetings, so stay in meetings. What's your name? My name is Nicole. Okay. Do you have, what grade is your child starting?
I have 3 of them. They're starting, I have twins starting in 3rd grade and an older one in 5th.
Oh, bless.
3 boys.
And they're all starting at the same time?
They're all starting school here at the same time, yeah.
Okay. Where were they before?
We live in Astoria,
Okay.
so, they were in an independent school in Queens,
Okay.
Q4s.
What made you decide to change?
The twins, because they were in the same class. There's no independent schools with 2 classes per grade. Well, I don't know that there's not many
Okay.
in Queens. So this was.
And you really wanted to be in different classes?
They had to be,
experiences.
yeah, because they finished 2nd grade and it was time. It was probably time. I don't know that it was time last year. Maybe it was time for one of them last year, but not both.
Mm-hmm.
A little tricky, the timing, you can't do it perfectly, that's for sure, but it's certainly necessary now.
So 3 boys, twins, and how far apart are they in age?
2 years.
2. Oh, God bless you. That is wonderful. That is very exciting. That's exciting. In my head, I always wanted twins. I think everybody says that until they get them, and then it's a lot.
Quite a few challenges that, well, I mean, I didn't plan plan it, foresee it, or expect it. But certainly didn't expect it before. But, yeah, it's a little crazy. I'm glad for the break. I don't care what they discuss here. I want to go home.
Oh, wow, yeah, my kids are starting and I'm anticipating it's gonna be fun, but I'm like slowly transitioning them and my daughter will test the waters and we'll see.
I heard you speaking Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Where?
I used to live in Argentina.
No way,
In
really?
Tucumán.
Are you, you're not Argentine?
No.
My husband's Argentine.
Oh, really? From where?
He was,
Yeah.
from San Luis.
Yeah, I've been.
Yeah.
I've been on vacation there.
Excuse me.
Yeah, so.
How interesting is that? And their father's from Puerto Rico.
Oh, well, my in-laws live in Puerto Rico.
So I speak a lot of Spanish.
Oh, that's great. We visit Puerto Rico.
That's nice.
And how are you?
They've been doing,
Good,
they've been
good.
doing
Good.
construction
Good to see
standards
you again.
since they were
Good.
6 months old. So, one of the reasons why.
How are you? Good to see you.
Starting very young. Although it doesn't feel like it's just such a, which is nice. But it's been so much challenge, especially when they're so little, because you have to be committed, it's hard. I try not to speak English to them, but it has to happen sometimes. And they do it in school, so I'm trying to. When we travel, like to Puerto Rico, Guatemala, Colombia, where we are, they speak, which is nice. Especially if I tell them they can't find interpreters or anything unless they do it in Spanish, so they do it all the time. Okay, so excited for school to start. Just so much more beautiful. It's not now. I think I've visited this school so many times. It's prepared, you ready? It's never, I don't know. You hurt yourself? Okay. Go on, Michelle. Okay. When does the first day of school, does it start September 3rd, or is it already started, or?
Yes, it hasn't been started September 1st thing, but it's specific on the grade. So it's depending on, and there's early dismissal, so.
I know,
Yeah,
that's
so you have
very
to look at the
inconvenient,
calendar.
that is very inconvenient.
I agree 100%.
Okay, then yeah,
Oh,
it
we're
is
live.
really inconvenient.
We are.
Good, let everybody know it's
Yes.
inconvenient.
We are looking at that
It's
for
till
a week and a
15th
half.
too.
I agree. Yes, I agree 100%. Yes. So we are looking at that. Yes.
Can tackle that, he's probably even.
Oh.
Here's his.
Look at that.
And when does after school start? Does it start soon, does it start later?
Yes, so
So
it's
it's the
the
15th?
day, but it's on the actual calendar.
Yeah.
It's that Monday. Yeah.
Here's that last one.
Yes, we look at
So I'm guessing that early dismissal was, I guess, in somebody was reading that would be a helpful transition for all the kids.
Very
Is that
good.
what they were thinking?
That's right.
Well,
Yes.
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 I saw it and I was like,
Yes.
that's probably what sometimes it doesn't
I
start.
think, it's been, the rest of that has been.
Yeah.
So, I believe that was the initial. But obviously, different theories.
Yeah, and I'm sure other kids that have never had like a school experience before, that might be,
That's true.
that might
Yes.
be valid and
Yes.
important for them to have.
Yes, that is true.
I think, so I understood that, said yes, as soon as it's time, she's ready to be here, and she's like, oh, no, you guys are staying, parents for the night. I'm worried about the transition, we're about to pick it up.
I'll figure it out at 11:30.
It's 11:30. Whatever the schedule says.
So just to let the viewers who are streaming in live know that we'll be starting in just a couple of minutes. If you have any questions at any time, you can go ahead into the browser window and type your questions in, and I will see that Dr. Juhel knows about your questions. Thank you.
Great.
Yes, it's online.
Things are working? Good, good. Thank you.
I'd let the online people know that if they have questions.
Yeah. All right, good evening, and welcome to your first official Buckley meeting. We spend a lot of time at school assessing and reassessing everything we do because we want to make sure we get it right. So we've often thought about whether or not we should have this meeting because then you probably have enough meetings to go to, and the answer was yes. So even though it's another meeting that you have to attend, we feel that there's enough anxiety as it is about starting a new school and sending your child or your children to a new school that the more we can help you figure out the practical aspects of coming to Buckley, the easier it will be. We've also debated at length when we should have this meeting, right? At the end of August, which is not very convenient. A lot of people are still on vacation, or after Labor Day weekend. I've learned that on Long Island, you can't get anybody to do anything before Labor Day weekend. So, but what we found is that after Labor Day, if you have a young child or young children that you're sending to school, or older children who are new to Buckley, usually you want to be with them, right, the night before they go to school for the first time and probably the first week. So it was not a good idea to pull you to a meeting. So we decided to offer two meetings, one for the people who are here in August and one on September 2nd, I believe, to fill the people who couldn't be back. So we want to try to keep the meeting to about an hour, but it can last as long as you want because we're here to answer your questions. So what I want to talk to you about is the questions that from experience and over the years, I know parents have coming new here. It's all very practical stuff, but then there might be some questions that we're not anticipating that we'd be happy to answer for you. So I'm here to answer your questions. We also have Mrs. Lyons who's here. Mrs. Lyons is head of the lower school for grades toddler to fourth grade. Mr. Klein is head of the upper school for grades 5 through 8. Mr. Eford is here to answer questions having to do with Buckley's commitment to diversity and inclusivity, and also questions regarding the athletics program and the physical education program. Mrs. Willingham is here. She was at the door to answer any questions regarding your involvement with a Parents Association of ways to volunteer at Buckley and to be involved in the life of the school, although I'm sure the co-presidents of the Parents Association have already reached out to you because we have our fall fair coming up. And then we also have Mrs. Duffy, and you'll know her, who is here. She usually sort of does the de facto point person for the first year of parents because that's kind of the person you're the most comfortable with. So she's here also to answer your questions. So, but what I want to tell you, there are just two things that I think are really important, sort of overarching thoughts about being new parents in this school. One, some of you are going to be here for 12 years. Some of you are going to be here for 10, for 9, depending on when you're entering, right? And parents get very excited on the first day. And the first week, they're very excited and they're so happy, which is great. But then they end up thinking that it's going to be like that for the next 12 years. And I guarantee you from experience, there are going to be mostly great days, 99%. But there are going to be some days where you're going to get frustrated for a reason or another. So what I've found is, first of all, to anticipate that. It's impossible over the course of 12 years that every day is going to be, utopia. So, so the most important thing we have found is to communicate. 99% of those issues, of the 1% of the issues that come up, can be addressed if you would just tell us. So that's the most important thing. We don't mind parents communicating with us. We'd rather you, come on in. We'd rather you over communicate with us, that's not enough, because then things come up at a point where it's too late to address them. So make sure you take the time to communicate with us. And then the other thing that I want to tell you is to always believe in our good intentions. That what you want for your children is what we want for your children. Most of the times we're all going to be on the same page. Sometimes we won't be, right? But for the days that we're not, just talk to us. And I promise you, I've never seen an issue here. I've been here 13 years now that cannot be addressed by the professionals who work in this building. Okay, so that's the thing. So here's what I want to talk to you about tonight. And again, they're very practical things. In the mail already, you should have received this calendar. If you haven't received it, then you need to tell your respective division heads. I mean, for some reason, there's a problem with our database and you're not in it. And then in a couple of days, you will also be receiving this, which is the student parent handbook, and then the directory. Okay. The student parent handbook, I know you're going to have a lot of things to do between now and when school starts. So I'm not going to assume that you're going to read it from A through Z the first week of school, but before the end of September would be great. Okay. What I'm giving you now is sort of the Reader's Digest version of that, so that you know what to do and what to expect. Okay. So if you need to call the school front desk is open from 8 in the morning until 6 in the evening and until 4 o'clock on Fridays. Okay. There's always somebody who will pick up the phone. You're never going to get an answering machine between 8 and 6. However, when you call, we will not transfer you to a teacher, because we find that teachers should be teaching and not be taking phone calls right during the day. So if you need to leave a message for the teacher regarding a dismissal change, or whatever you need to communicate with the teacher, that she may not be able to answer via email because she won't have the time between now and the time when you need this action taken, the front desk person, her name is Jennifer, we'll give her the message, okay? Her or him. We have more hers than hims, but so we'll communicate a message. But we really, I'm really asking that you not insist on being transferred to the classroom. We will transfer you to the person's voicemail, or you can leave a message with the reception. If it's urgent, don't go into voicemail, because teachers have a lot of things to do, and they're not going to check their voicemail every hour or so. So make sure you give a message to the front desk. If you need to speak with an administrator or somebody who's not teaching, obviously the front desk will transfer you live to the person that you need to talk to. Okay, so that's the number that you need to kind of memorize: 627-1910. Right? After hours, if you need to leave a message to a teacher, in the handbook that we're giving you here, you'll see that every teacher has an extension. So you dial this number, you'll get an answering machine, blah, blah, blah. Just dial the extension and you'll get to the teacher's voicemail. Okay. Every teacher also has a Buckley email address. You can go to our website to find out what it is, but it's very simple. It's the initial, the first name, the last name, and then at buckleycountryday.com. buckleycountryday.com. Yeah. Our rule of thumb as far as emails, we tell the teachers that within 24 hours they should return the email. So if you send an email to an administrator, you'll get a response really fast. To a teacher, we tell them you have 24 hours. Most of them will do it much faster than that. But again, the priority for the teachers is to be teaching, right? One more thing I wanted to tell you about the handbook is that also we're giving you the directory. Obviously, it's only for your own use. Okay, sometimes we've had to talk to people about not distributing this to people who then don't use it for the purpose that it's intended for, right? So this is for you and for your own use only. And this is how you can get to a teacher. Any questions about that? Or we're good? Okay. So sometimes I send emails out, in particular to new parents, telling them, today you need to park here. We're having this event and this and that, and I describe where the places are. And sometimes new parents tell me, why don't you send just out a map of the school or a floor plan of the building? And that will be easier. But I don't want to do that because I don't think it's safe for me to send out a plan of the building that would then, circulate before it is. And I certainly don't know, other than you and the people who work here, how the building is laid out, right? And so As a matter of fact, tell you a funny story. Obviously, the mansion was built in the part of the building that's older was built in 1918, and it's in books and on websites about the Gold Coast and fancy mansions of the Gold Coast. And we found a website that actually had the floor plan. So actually, we called, we emailed, and they finally took it down because I really didn't want anybody to know where places were in the building. That being said, for you now, I can show you a little bit. So. One thing that I want to tell you is that this is IU Woods Road here. Okay, the section of IU Woods between Shelter Rock and the dead end here is a private road, actually. So we maintain it. Maybe I shouldn't tell you because they're going to run into a pothole or some snow and you're going to know what to blame. But we maintain it. Actually, I should tell you because, again, I always believe in our good intentions, right? So we have a snowplow. We do everything we can to keep the road nice. But another thing I need to ask you is I get about, on average, 2 or 3 phone calls a week from neighbors, disgruntled neighbors. Oh, your parents drive too fast, they don't stop at the stop sign, and so on and so forth. So not only is it dangerous, but we're in the village of North Hills here. Anytime I want a permit for anything, I have to have the good wishes of the neighbors. I cannot get anything accomplished unless the neighbors are happy with us. So you're by stopping at stop signs and driving slowly on that access road, you're helping us develop the school, and you're also keeping everybody safe. So really appreciate it. So then there are 2 ways that you can get into the building, and I'll go over that when you arrive. So this is developed now. This was taken before those 5 houses were built over there. But this is what we call our bus driveway. Okay, and this is only for buses. So the first gate that you see on your right when you get to our campus, that's only for buses. Okay. That gate is only open for half an hour in the morning between 8 and 8:25. Otherwise, it's always locked. Okay. And then this is the private driveway that you drove down on this morning. And then this is where parents park here. There's a parking lot here now that didn't exist when this picture was taken. That's for faculty. So all this area here is for parent parking. Okay. So arrival. So this is how it works in the morning. So the building is always locked, always, okay? One great thing about this building, there's only one building, so you never have to, children never have to leave to go anywhere, from their classroom to the library, to the bathroom, to the gym, to anywhere they go. But we keep everything locked, okay? And at 8 o'clock, though, we open the front door for parents to come in. There's always an administrator on duty there to, identify the people who walk in, okay? After 8:25, we actually lock that door, and then there's a buzzer and a camera. Okay. Classes begin at 8:25 for everybody, toddler through 8th grade. Okay. If you arrive between 8:25 and 8:40, you can go into the classroom. It's still gonna, the attendance is still gonna reflect late, but you don't need a late pass. After 8:40. At the front desk, you would get a late pass. Now, it's not to punish you or punish the child. There's traffic, there's a lot of things happening, but we need to know where everybody is, right? Because, if a child doesn't get a late pass, now we think the child is not in the building, okay? The child is here. So we call you at home because we want to know where the child is, right? That's not a great conversation to have. So, so after 8:40, you get a pass, okay? And we have a new receptionist this year. She's fantastic. The one we had last year, she had the passes pre-printed because she knew already who was going to walk at 8:40. So you don't want to be on that list, okay? So anyway, so there are 3 ways that you can arrive to Buckley, okay? You can arrive by bus, and that's for most of you. That will be for students in kindergarten and up who live in Nassau County, because you're entitled to transportation provided by the district as long as you're within 15 miles of the school. If they think you're 16, give it to me, okay? Anyway, so you're always within 15 miles of the building. So when the children arrive by bus in the morning, the buses drop them off at the bus driveway, that first gate that I told you about. There's a teacher on duty there and an administrator every morning, okay? So we count who arrives, buses arrive, we know who's in, and we actually walk them from the bus into the building, and into the building, there's another teacher there who then walks them to their destination, okay? So even on the first day, if you're a little bit nervous about putting them on the bus, I promise you they will be taken to where they ought to be going. right? The second way to arrive here is privately, what the kids call privately, which means you're driven by somebody, by your parents, and you can do it two ways. You go down where the buses go down, okay, and then you stop where we have sort of this unloading zone, okay, and then you don't get out of the car, but the child gets out of the car, okay, with his or her backpack, whatever they need, and then also we walk them into the building, okay. Now, I don't recommend doing that for, toddlers at maybe nursery, the first month. I think it's a little bit much for them to be dropped off from the car right there. If you need to, they'll be fine. But from experience, right, Mrs. Lyons, it's a little bit early to do that in September. Yeah. Right.
And, so I would give it a couple of weeks of, a little handhold before you. We take them out of the car seats, we give them a hug, we will walk them into the building, we make sure that they are handed over to the teacher. We have teachers on duty right inside the door. So we give the child to those teachers who make sure that they get to their nursery or their pre-K classroom.
Right.
But it's a little hard for them.
Yeah. These are more what they look like, the kids who are dropped off with the bus. But little ones too later on during the year. So the other reason also is because we have buses and cars, and the parents who drop off there, it's usually because they don't have time to park and go into the building. So if we have a lot of crying and separation anxiety, then the line is backed up all the way to, and people are nice, they'll never say anything. But I just want to tell you. So just the only two things when you drop off your child at the bus circle like that, some parents are in such a hurry sometimes that they don't wait until they get to the area where the kids can actually be dropped off. They open the door, and that really is unsafe. So we recommend it's better to be late than having other issues. And the other thing is that sometimes there's a bus in front of you, and obviously we ask that you not pass the bus, okay? So those are the two things. And then the other way to arrive into the building here is to actually park, where I showed you could park, and walk into the building with your child. So this is the way it works if you do that. If you're in a toddler, nursery, or pre-K, we ask that you actually walk your child down to the classroom and hand them over yourself to the teacher. Right, Mrs. Lyons?
Yes.
Okay. K through 2, the children will be dropped off. We ask that you don't go to the classroom, K through 2. They're used to it, and they're not gonna, it's not gonna be an issue. K through 2, we drop them off in Grace Commons. We'll show you what that is. And then grade 3 and 4 in the reception room. There are always teachers on duty there, so we ask that you drop them off, say goodbye, and then you may go, and the teachers will come pick them up there. And then grades 5 through 7, they go in the dining room. They don't want you there. Okay, so you can bye, mom. Okay, don't want to be seen by the president. Okay, so this is how children arrive in the morning. It's you see on the first day it's very exciting. Everybody's looking their best, and we take pictures and everything. But it's pretty, we have it pretty much under control. Sometimes it looks a bit chaotic, but it's not. And there are administrators everywhere and teachers everywhere answering questions and taking up teachers. So this is Grace, and she's going to high school next year, so that's an old picture. Being dropped off from the Garden City bus. Summer, who is being dropped off privately, and this kid is now a freshman in high school, so it's a very old picture, who's being dropped off privately. Michael. Okay, any questions about arrival? Yes.
The bus circle is over 8 to 8:30, the 30 minutes you said that.
For cars?
Yes.
8 to 8:25 really.
8 to 8:25.
Yeah. And so, you'll see, so we have two things about that gate over there. So we have a big mirror on the left side, so when you pull out of the driveway, you can see the traffic, okay? But we also have a security guard there with a vest that will direct traffic so that, bus come in, cars go one way, you go out, and so on and so forth. But we do lock the gate at 8:25. Any questions about arrival? Okay. Mrs. Lyons, do you want to talk briefly about what if, like, toddler, nursery, you drop them off in the classroom, but the first month, separation is a...
So what happens? So toddlers, especially, some children need a little more gradual separation. And the teachers are very, very aware of that. So we really encourage the toddler parents to hang around. And that's kind of why we have a very gradual separation. So it's like the first 2 weeks of school, first week, I think they stay for 45 minutes. The second week, they stay for an hour and a half, and then after that, they'll start by the third week, they're in the full time. But there are parents that sometimes go into the classroom and sit there. And if you need to sit there, that's fine. We encourage you to sit there, but not really to interact with the child. Eventually, the child will just, start playing with something. And sometimes it takes a little while. They have to kind of develop trust in the other adults in the room. Some children will walk right in and say goodbye, and then I kind of hold your hand as you're walking out the door because you feel a little teary, but that's okay. But others need a little more hand holding. So we really recommend a gradual separation in toddler and in nursery. Now, sometimes it gets a little extreme. We had to put like a piece of tape on the floor so mommy can stay here today. Tomorrow mommy's here, and the next day she's there. So it was very gradual. By Thanksgiving, it doesn't usually take that long. So
Thanksgiving of first grade, you mean?
But yeah, so I just, the teachers are very, very experienced in dealing with separation. And so it's
The teachers,
really,
you mean?
yeah, it's more of an issue for parents and usually it is for the kids. Kids usually, they get over it.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions or concerns, I'm always around on those days, and especially for the toddlers, like the parents probably will stay the first week for 45 minutes, so we'll have coffee and, and something upstairs, and you can, share your teary days or whatever, because, everybody's in the same boat, dropping someone off the first time. So, so it's fine.
And again, the most important thing is to talk to us because there are different strategies for different children.
Absolutely.
Some teachers will recommend that the child brings a little, something from
Transitional
home.
object,
Others don't need that, so it's very,
picture
yeah.
or toy or something. Yeah.
So in little by little, gradually, as we separate, we just opened a new, Alex, what are we calling it? The Main Street Cafe.
At
Buckley Community School. So you can go have a cup of coffee and wait here. By the way, we love having parents around. And I really mean it. So if you want to stay here, have coffee, it's fine with us. Okay, so I only have one thing. Don't bring any food in the building, but I'm going to get into this in a minute. Okay, all right, dismissal now. Mrs. Lyons, can you tell us briefly?
Okay, so toddler dismissal is at 12 o'clock. So the parents come in about 10 to 12 or 5 to 12. They go down actually to the toddler classroom and they have a little goodbye song. It's very cute, the toddlers, and it can be a parent or a caregiver, whoever's picking up the child. And they get a little puppet, you choose your puppet, the child chooses the puppet, and we do a little goodbye song. And then the parent takes the child. You will have to exit, and we'll show you this when you come for toddler orientation. The only exit from the building, as Dr. Juhel said, there's one door. So that is the door you come in, and that is the door that you take your child when you leave. Sometimes toddler parents were tempted to take a shortcut by going out the door of the library. That's really not safe. So we ask that everyone dismiss from the main lobby. Nursery children are brought up to the main lobby at 12 o'clock, so the parents can gather in the main lobby. Sometimes on nice days, they'll be in the courtyard, and the teachers will bring them out. So again, it will be covered at orientation, but we always make sure that the teachers usually will stand there, and if they see Johnny's mom or caretaker who's ever picking him up, so we are very, very careful about who we dismiss children to. You will also fill out something where you will say, who the people are who are allowed to pick up your child, and if anyone is not on that list, we don't give the child to them. So we've had instances where we've had to call, and even if the person says, well, I'm the grandmother, well, you're not on the list, so we can't do that. So it's just to make sure that when you do fill out that card, the emergency card, I think that you've probably already gotten that.
You should have gotten that in the mail.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's toddlers pre-K is dismissed at 1:30, and pre-K it's the same thing. The teachers bring them up to the front lobby, and the parents pick them up there. If they're staying for extended day, and this also goes for the nursery, the playgroup, and the extended day, then the parents go down to the classroom at 3 o'clock and pick them up. So we don't bring them up at 3 o'clock; it's a little too busy around Grace Commons. So the parents will go to the classroom. Regular dismissal will be from the front lobby. And kindergarten through grade 4 are dismissed at 3 o'clock. If they're taking the bus, there will be one teacher on each grade level who will bring them to the bus. Usually it's from the auditorium, and they'll put them on the bus line where another teacher will be taking them out to the buses. The other teacher on the grade level brings them up to Grace Commons, and again, it's K2 are dismissed from Grace Commons, and 3 and 4 are dismissed from the reception room.
Peter, grades 5 and 6.
So grades 5 and 6, their last period of the day is sports, which was for us is 3-season competitive athletics. So they can dismiss 2 days. One is private, in which case they come up to the main lobby in the reception room where a parent or caregiver picks them up right from there. And the other way is that they go out to 3 o'clock bus dismissal. Again, they need a teacher in the auditorium or the lower gym who's assigned to a particular bus who takes them out to that bus. Grades 7 and 8 dismiss at 4 o'clock. Again, physical education, competitive sports is their last period of the day. It's the same process, but of course it's fewer children at that point. There's an administrator or an upper school teacher on duty in the auditorium who waits till all the children are on the bus list there, confirms that with the receptionist, who takes the children out, loads them on buses one by one according to the list. Up in the lobby, again, the children waiting for his comments, parent or caregiver picks them up there. We also have faculty and staff on duty for all the grade levels, make sure always that the child is actually leaving us on they're supposed to be with, that we know that they're gone and not somewhere else.
And Mr. Eford, can you clarify on game days, then when they come back late, how does that work as far as? Yeah.
Yes. On game days,
It's only Tuesdays and Thursdays, yeah.
yes, which are only Tuesdays and Thursdays, and this is specifically for grades 5 through 8. There are 2 ways that you may be dismissed for game days. One is you can pick up your child at the away game, but that has to be communicated in the morning. And then myself, I will double call and double check that you're going home or going to pick up at an away game. Second is privately returning. So basically, if there's an away game maybe 20 minutes away, the students come back, and it could be anywhere from 5:30 to 5:45, and you come back here private, whereas I will be here as well to make sure that Christmas that way.
Right, thank you. So then there are 3, we often joke that this building never closes, right? Which is true. And by the way, when I said the receptionist is here until 6, she's here, and one of us is here until there's a child in the building. So you always get somebody on the phone. If it's 6:30 and your child is here, obviously you'll get somebody on the phone. Right? But there are 3 things that children can do after school. So in nursery and pre-K, they can stay in what we call playgroup. Okay, so nursery, that's from 12 to 3, Monday through Friday. Pre-K, that's from 1:30 to 3, Monday through Thursday. All those forms, if you want to sign up for that, are on the website, and you can sign up for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, the whole year, 1/3 of the year, whatever you want. Extended day, that's for grades K through 6. That's from 3 to 4. Okay, and the program and the menu of activities then will be emailed to you, I think, tomorrow but before the end of the week. Okay, and those are activities that are offered from 3 to 4. We have languages. What do we have? Art, hip hop, ballroom dancing, all kinds of things that.
This year we have manners, so I'm very excited about that. Thank you.
We have a class from 3 to 4 called Manners Matter. Yeah, absolutely. So all kinds of things, and the kids love it. I mean, usually if you're in the lower school, you'll see they're going to want to stand still for it if you give them permission. The only issue with that is that depending on your district, they may not send a bus at 4 o'clock, okay? Because we tell them that technically the day ends at 3, they don't want to send 2 buses. So if you're in Nassau County, check with your district, they may not give you a 4 o'clock bus. And then study hall. So study hall serves 2 purposes. One is if you can't pick up your child, if you're picking up your child privately and for some reason you can't get here, we're going to send your child to study hall, which is in this room, with a teacher, supervised, and they're coming here to do their homework. Now, even if some parents decide to let them go to study hall so that they can do their homework here, and then they pick them up, and they can enjoy dinner and have a good evening, and things go well. But it's you don't have to sign up ahead of time for that. You can just whenever you decide that you need it, you just let the teacher know that your child's going to stay here until whenever you want, and then we'll send them to study hall. Okay, and that can be as late as 6 o'clock. Okay, but you can leave them at 3 o'clock and pick them up at 5 or at 4. It doesn't really matter. Okay, any questions about dismissal? I put this picture of those 2 little. They were in kindergarten last year. 2 kindergarten girls. One is because I know we get a lot of dress code questions at those meetings. So this is exactly what they should be wearing in the lower school in between now and November, and then April and the end of the year, right? So one of them is wearing a sport, the other one's wearing shorts, and they're both wearing, one of them is wearing a blouse, and the other one a polo shirt. That's all completely okay uh, for kindergarten. We're spending a lot of time talking to you about safety because I always tell parents that I wish I could tell them that my first responsibility to you is to educate your children, and thank God it is. But there's one that's greater than that, and it's really to keep your children safe. And I take this responsibility, or keeping the 330 children we have in the building here and the 70 people who work here safe every day. So you'll hear me talk a lot about safety, send emails reminding you that safety is everybody's business, right? I mean, I can send a ton of emails. I can have as many policies as I want. If we're not all on board, the building is not going to be as safe as you want it to be. So that's why we're spending a lot of time on that. Any questions about dismissal? Bottom line, we're never going to let your kids go anywhere where he or she shouldn't go, with somebody he or she shouldn't go. I'll tell you a funny story. So one day this man comes up to pick up a child, and I'm always out there, and when I don't recognize, by now I know the babysitters, the parents, the uncles, except this one I didn't know. So I call his mom on the phone, and I say, well, this man is picking up your daughter, claims to be her uncle. She goes, is he handsome? I said, okay. All right, you can go. So that was, yeah. All right, school closing. So that happens. For the most part, I try not to close early because that's more complicated than anything because, kids leave, they go. We have kids from 30 districts here, so it's pretty complicated to send everybody home at different times, right? So for the most part, we'll try to keep them here until school closes or the buses show up, right? I'll tell you, sometimes parents come to pick them up early, and so funny because the kids don't want to go. Well, I haven't had lunch yet. Today we're having, this and that. So anyway, so and then the other thing I try not to do, what do we call this? Delayed arrival also because we have kids from so many districts, very complicated. So usually what happens with that is that we say, look, come whenever you can. I don't have too far to go. I'm here anyway. So and then we'll start whenever the teachers get here. We can all start. But for the most part, it's easier to predict now when we should be closing. And so what happens with that is you'll get a phone call from me and a text. Okay. And best case scenario to get it the night before. You don't have to wake up. The kids are so happy. Sometimes I call in the morning and I don't make friends. But this is I try my best. So anyway, school closing. Any questions about that? Or great. Okay, health. Okay, we try to keep everybody not only safe but healthy here, right? So I'm really asking, and I'm actually I'm telling you that if your child has a temperature of over 100 degrees, they need to stay home for 24 hours after that temperature is gone. Okay, it's very important to us because then what happens? The child comes back too early, the child doesn't get any better, and then 6 more kids get sick. And it's really not helpful. So I'm really asking in everybody's interest that they stay home for 24 hours after having reached a temperature of 100 degrees. When they're out sick, we need a doctor's note to readmit them into the building, sometimes because we need to know whether they can participate in physical activities and PE or for any reason. We have a fantastic nurses here. Her name is Nurse Page. Her extension is 2788. That's one you should, memorize. And if you want to direct her, call her directly, it's 472-2788. She knows everybody. She knows every family, every child. She goes by the rule, though, and she's very good. And she'll be calling you. She's fantastic. Okay, medication. This is going to seem strange to you, but we don't let children self-medicate here in the building, so they can't come to school with any kind of medication, even over-the-counter medication. If it's a prescription, we need a note from the doctor, we need your permission, and it has to be in the bottle with all the directions and so on and so forth, but she will do it. Only the nurse will give medication to a child. I think that's about it about health. She's really terrific. Now, here's the other thing, though. We need your health forms in before your children can start school. yeah, so she was making the list of what she's missing. So the phone calls are going to start going out, but we really need that. In particular, for them to participate in sports and for them to go to Club Getaway. And it would be really, really helpful if you could have those forms in on time, because we're always last minute getting them faxed and this and that, and then, it's really a problem. So, but if you hear from Nurse Page, that's probably why she's okay. I asked the division heads to let you know a little bit about what you should expect regarding homework. And again, I put this slide here because usually that's a question we get. So Mrs. Lyons,
Sure,
yeah.
okay. So homework starts in kindergarten, although we recommend that you reach your child starting in toddlers just every day. So actually in kindergarten, our children start to get formal homework. It is probably about, I would say 20 to 30 minutes, and it goes up a little bit. It doesn't start right away. It probably starts like after curriculum night when the teachers will talk to you about it. And basically it will just be, maybe reading, and a kindergartner can be reading or can be not reading. So the kindergartner may be talking about a book with you. So it's, I would say 15 minutes of literacy homework. Sometimes there's a math homework sheet or something just for reinforcement. Basically, we look at homework, we look at it for two reasons, okay, to think about it. One is to reinforce the learning that's happened in school, so we're not going to send your child something brand new. So if a child says to you, I never learned this, well, you need to write a little note to the teacher. And the other reason is to develop independence. So it's very important for the child to develop that independence and to do the homework, by themselves, and to be responsible for packing it. The children used to say, Mom, my mother didn't pack it, and I would say, well, your mother's in first grade, so it's not a responsibility. So just a matter of timing. So in grades 1 to 4,
Did they ever say my father didn't
pack it? No, they used to say my mother didn't pack it, but anyway, that's not an excuse. So in first grade, the homework is about 30 minutes, and I would say 15 minutes of that is reading time. So we do expect the children to read for 15 minutes every night, starting in first grade. They will be bringing home what we call their Just Right or their independent reading book. Some of the children, and it doesn't mean they can only read for 15 minutes. I would never say stop reading after 15 minutes. They can read as long as they want or until you want to turn out the light. And sometimes it's a response to that reading. So sometimes they have to read and write something about a character, or write something about the setting, or write something about what the book reminded them of. So it could be reading and a reading response. It is in first to fourth grades, there is usually spelling homework. So we use the spelling program. I'm not going into that because you'll all about that on curriculum night. But it is some kind of reinforcement of their spelling words. And in many classes, they have personal spelling words, or they have challenge words. So they have activities to do with their spelling. And then it will be some kind of math work. So it will be a math reinforcement of that day's math lesson. So it's usually reading with some kind of a writing response, math, and spelling. And it gradually starts, it's probably about 30 minutes in first grade. By the time they're in fourth grade, it's about 45 minutes. I always say to parents with homework, it should not become like a problem at home. So sometimes parents will say, the child was up for 2 or 3 hours doing homework. And I would say to the parent, don't allow that. If your child is in second grade and is spending more than 40 minutes on homework, you need to put it away and write a note to the teacher. And then we deal with it at school. What is the problem with the child just not want to do the homework? Well, then the child will do the homework at some time during the day. We usually only have to do that once. So you're not going to go for recess today, you're going to do your homework. That doesn't happen too often. And it's much easier to handle it at school than it is for a parent to be, and I always feel badly, like I think it takes away from family time and the time you should be enjoying with your children. And it shouldn't be like arguing with them or having all this dissension about homework. So if there are any problems about homework, we really encourage you to speak to the teacher. Any other questions about homework? Okay, you'll be hearing a lot about that on curriculum night when you go to the classrooms.
5 and 6.
So 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, of course, your children are becoming departmentalized starting in 5th grade. So your homework's going to vary. You should be expecting probably about an hour 15 to an hour 30 minutes of homework per night. Some variation on that. Some of that should be reading as well. As Mrs. Lyons said, just whatever they're assigned to read is not what they should just be reading. I often have parents say, my child's vocabulary scores are not very good on a standardized test. We'll ask the question, does your child read for pleasure? The answer is almost always. So the more your child reads, the better they'll be at it, and it has corollary benefits farther out. So when you get in 7th and 8th grade, the amount of homework goes up a bit. I wouldn't say a lot, but the quality of it changes. It becomes less about completing specific finite tasks and about what's really called studying, which is something that we start working in fifth and sixth grade on with the children, which is how do you manage parts of your own brain? How do you say, all right, I'm responsible for this skill, this concept. What do I need to do in incremental pieces to make sure that I get them? And still elementary school, 7th and 8th grade. So we're giving the children lots of guidance, lots of scaffolding. I'd also like to echo what Ms. Lyons says. You know, homework is not supposed to be busy work. It's supposed to reinforce and extend what happens during the school day. It's not meant to take forever and ever. If you're seeing something anomalous like that, call me, call a teacher, and say, should my child be spending this much time doing this right now? If the answer is no, then we'll look individually at your child. Let's just study strategy, because lots of times it's different when parents say my child studies, but what does that mean? Exactly. When my child does homework, what does that mean? But again, we're not meant to spend school for 2 to 5 hours outside of the school day. Anybody have any questions?
The only difference between 5th and 6th and 7 and 8 is that we do assign homework during the weekends.
Yes.
On the weekends in grade 7 and 8. We never do it before coming back, from a holiday. We don't want homework to take away from family time, holiday time, traditions, celebrations, and so on and so forth.
I'd also say that one of the things we're very responsive, grades 5 through 8, is different things going on in children's lives, right? Since the big sporting events going on that involve a lot of children or anything like that, we'll have homework blackouts.
That being said, particularly in the upper school, it is a demanding program. So they will have a significant amount of work, I would say, hugely because other than extending on the skills they've learned in the classroom and giving the teachers the ability to assess their understanding, as well as differentiating, the way they instruct, they're all going on to secondary schools that are going to be very demanding as well. We don't want them that to be a shock for them. So that's the issue. When Mr. Klein and I meet with the 8th graders between their 7th and 8th grade year, with each child about 2 to 3 hours, and we talk about their experience, so on and so forth. Most of them will tell you that what they learn in 7th and 8th grade is how to manage their time, and that in and of itself is an important skill. Any questions? Yes.
So my daughter's going to 5th grade. Is the homework graded and is it sent back?
It depends on what it is.
Okay.
Usually the homework is something that is going to allow the teacher to understand if the child has gotten the concept. So very often it's not graded. There might be a homework percentage grade. That would just be based on the fact that the child completed it. But you've asked an important question, and we see this more and more, particularly with the older children. Do not do your child's homework. And you laugh, but again, and do not do significant parts of your child's writing or math homework, because we don't know what your child has gotten or not gotten.
The other thing is, as for the practical aspect of it, all the homework is posted online. Okay, so that's how the children find out what their homework is. From 5 through 8, yeah. So that's what they find out what their homework is, and that's where you can find out what their homework is. So tests, quizzes, homework, everything is posted online. So pretty soon you'll get an email with your password and username to access your parent portal. We don't, that's how you'll get your children's grades, your sign up for parent-teacher conferences, find out what their homework is, and it's filtered to match your child. So if you're in the 5th grade, you're only getting the homework that your child has been given. But the kids do that independently, and that's how they find out what their homework is. They go with it. Yeah. Okay. We also limit the number of quizzes and tests that they can get, so they don't, quizzes we don't limit, but tests they don't take more than 2 a day. All right, school supplies, because we get that question often. So in the lower school, it's a very simple answer. You don't need anything, right, Mrs. Lyons?
Yeah, the supplies are ordered by the teachers and the children on the first school, so.
Right. In the upper school, you should have all received a link from Mr. Klein that directs you to the list of supplies needed that you can buy yourself, or you can have shipped to your house. Just click, click, click. They deliver it to your house, and everything you need is there. And you can unclick things you don't need. So if you haven't gotten that, you should talk to Mr. Klein because they're going to need some stuff to start. The one thing we give them all is an iPad. So first week they'll be getting all an iPad, grades 4 through 8. And then The third graders will be given their iPad after the December break. There's a beautiful child there. It's mine. So I had to brag a little bit. Okay, cell phones. We get that question a lot. So we're fine with kids having cell phones. In particular, traveling from school and from home into school. But we don't want them on while they're in the building. So the only thing we ask them to do is to turn them off, put them in the lockers, and then pick them up again at the end of the day. Turn them off. But you don't have to tell them you can't have a phone to school. We think it's if they're on the bus, you want to know where they are. It's actually not a bad thing for them to have a cell phone. But we tell them they obviously turn them off when they get into the building. And they don't need them for any other thing because they have iPads. So whatever they would need in terms of getting the homework and things like that, they do it with their iPad that our school issued and not their iPhone, their smartphones. Okay, dress code. I know you had a lot of questions about dress code. So these are 3 pairs of siblings. So if you have children in grade toddler, nursery, and pre-K, I think the most important thing, correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Lyons, is for them to be comfortable. Right, correct?
Comfortable and easy, for using the bathroom, so to recommend elastic pants and, sneakers. Velcro ties are better than ties. So it's really just comfortable play clothes in toddler nursery. Okay.
So this is a child she was in pre-K then and pre-K there too. Okay. So her brother there, Corey, is again they can wear shorts, Bermuda shorts. And up until November, and from April to the end of the year, and all kids wear polo shirts. Obviously they can wear a button-down shirt, but I prefer wearing polo shirts that are much more comfortable. In the upper school, in the lower school, I'm sorry, this is what they wear, I guess after November and up until April, so long khaki pants, shoes, and they wear blue sweaters. Some of the kids decide to wear a blazer. That's what they like, but they can wear a blazer or a sweater. And this was the first day of school, so we have some formal days where they have to wear ties. Actually, he didn't have to wear a tie, but we have quite a few kids who like coming to school in their ties anyway. And then this is the plaid jumpers that the girls wear in the lower school. Okay?
And every Friday is full dress uniform, so every Friday they wear their jumpers, and girls wear their jumpers and boys wear them.
And ties.
In kindergarten, sometimes they wear ties and blazers and things like that. So adorable. So they love Fridays for that reason. That's our assembly day. So it's rather than just say some Fridays, we say all Fridays. Unless if it's something that they really don't need to, then I'll send you an email and say full dress uniform.
Let me answer about the upper school because maybe that's gonna.
Sure.
Well, you go ahead. Yeah.
So any recommendations about footwear? Sneakers. Well, the sneakers, they bring their sneakers for the PE classes. With their uniforms, they need to wear sort of like a dress shoe. So just when you get the parent handbook, will tell you so that they should be navy blue, black, or they can be brown. So it's a brown dress shoe.
They do change into. I'm going to go over PE uniforms. Yeah. That's why. Okay. Okay. So this is another kind of a brochette of assortment of Buckley students, so you can look. They're all in the lower school. So again, those are the jumpers that they have to wear with the sweater. The boys wear khaki pants. Some of them wear turtleneck tops, and those are the shoes that they can wear. The girls can wear tights, right, Mrs. Lyons?
Yes.
They're allowed to wear pants also, but it's amazing. You'll find. So it used to be the girls could only wear skirts and jumpers. Now we cannot get them to wear pants after we changed that. So it's 20 below outside, but they still come in their skirts, but they wear tights. And the boys, if we let them, I think would wear shorts, year round, which I can't blame them. But anyway, so that's okay. In the upper school, it's a little bit different. So the only difference in the upper school is that the girls wear skirts, and the boys have to wear blazers. And on Fridays, they must wear ties, okay? So the difference when you hear a regular dress day, usually a boy will wear a polo shirt and khaki pants, right? On a dress up day, on a formal day, they wear a button-down tie, a tie, and that's the only difference, really. Okay. The blazer is every day. They must wear a blazer every day. So. The reason why we have the uniform, I guess you understand, is mainly because we want to really simplify their lives so that we can really complicate their lives in the classroom. So we remove some of the choices that we think are really not that important from their lives. We tell them where to sit at lunch. We tell them what to wear. There are a lot of decisions that we make for them. We tell them what they have, the kind of things. We remove choices a little bit because I think at that age, it's just make lives much too complicated and gets in the way of actually learning sometimes. So, and they don't mind. I haven't seen kids complain about dress code. They complain when they move on because then lives become too complicated. My God, I have to choose between this and that. So that's, and they can wear fancy ties. You see those boys. The boys can express themselves with the ties they wear.
Are any of the uniforms required to be monogrammed or have patches?
No, they don't have to, but Alex, we do provide that, right? Do we, the logo?
I believe they are available, the Buckley logo,
Logo.
and we'll carry McKibbins, who just left. She was in
Okay.
here before she greeted you all at the door. She works in the development office and she knows how to get them. You can also order them with your blazer through Lynn on your own.
Okay, but they don't have to, yes.
Okay, so questions regarding upper school uniforms. So is it from September and October they're only allowed to wear the khakis and the white top, right?
No, the difference is that the boys can wear shorts then, and the girls can wear skirts, right?
Right, but it's only the khaki ones, it's not the plaid ones?
They can wear the plaid ones if they want. We're just giving them, a choice to wear shorts or skirts, but they can wear plaid if they want. Yeah.
The plaid
Yeah.
design?
Most kids in the upper school wear plaid year-round.
Okay.
They-
And then, even the girls, do they wear the blazer throughout the week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I cannot tell you the number of blazers that we find and things like that, and number of situations in the lobby. I'm never getting you another one. Go for it. So anyway, it is so helpful if you could just put their names on their blazers because then they don't get lost. Those things are somewhere, But once their names are on them, we can really find them. So it would be a great. It would be very helpful for you to find to put their names on their blazers or whatever. It's really helpful. It's not just removing their choice, but it's also for them. They understand, what they wear also indicates what they should be focusing on at some point. So I'll talk a little bit about the gym uniforms, and also removes a lot of, what kind of, label you're wearing on your uniform, so on your clothing. Okay, so as far as PE things, so in pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade, all they need is sneakers. So they change from their regular shoes into sneakers. Second graders actually go to the locker room and change into their gym uniform. We provide the gym uniforms. Third and fourth graders also change into their uniforms. And then for sports, we also give them whatever they need, except for cleats. What else do we not provide? And lacrosse sticks and those things.
Yes, only just cleats actually.
Just cleats.
Everything else, equipment, we provide everything. Most of them have their own, but if not, we provide it. And
Yeah.
so really, just need a pair of socks.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a funny dress code. Okay, so sometimes we have special dress code days. Okay. All right. So what we try to do, the administrators and I, is to narrow down everything we care about in 9 golden rules. Okay. So the first one is you must help us keep all the doors locked. And sometimes it is so tempting. You're running, 2 minutes late. You knock on the door. You want the teachers to open the door for you. We told them not to open the door, even though it would be very simple. Because once you get in the habit of doing it, then somehow, someday, somebody's going to forget to shut the door and lock the door. So we say be late, but keep all the doors locked, and don't put pressure on the teachers to open the doors for you. All access into the building is only the front door. Rule number 2, when you're in the building, you don't need to sign in if you're only dropping off or picking up, okay? But if you're here for an extended period of time, you need to sign in and to sign out. You need to sign in because we've also trained the teachers to question people that they don't recognize. And not every teacher knows every parent. So if you're not wearing the Buckley tag, and we change the colors every day, whatever, if they don't see you, they don't know you, and you're not wearing a Buckley tag, they're going to say, are you supposed to be here or not? So we'd rather not have to do that. And that's it. for that. Okay. The reason why we want you to sign out is sometimes we have fire drills. We actually have to have 10 fire drills before early December. And so if you're not signed out, we look for you. And we keep looking and looking and looking, not realizing that you're, at Whole Foods and we're still looking for you here. So, okay. Rule number 3, it's really important. We really, again, sometimes you're going to get here maybe at 7:30 and you see teachers in the building. Can you please take my child? And we really don't want to open until 8, not because we're mean people, but because there's really no supervision that we can provide at that time. Okay, and so, and teachers are here. Teachers get here very, very early in the morning. They want to prepare their classes, and so we would prefer they do that. Okay, rule number 4. When there's a fire drill, the tendency for some parents, we run away before we get stuck in it. No, when there's a fire drill, we all gather there. It takes about 5 minutes to evacuate the building and account for every children in the building. But you must follow the same fire drill directions as the students. Actually, I promise your children will not be happy if you don't follow rules because they're very, very keen on that. I told you about this already. I told you also about this. This we discussed. Okay, parking. It sounds pretty obvious, but it always happens. We have fire hydrants here that are clearly marked, but we ask that you only park where you can park. And if you can't park, we'll find somebody to help you, but it's really rare. If you need handicap parking, it's on the faculty parking lot. Okay, and okay, last thing. So let me tell you just a little bit about that. So we really don't want any food in the building that's brought from the outside, right? Hugely because we give the kids great food here. It's all cooked here. There's nothing processed that comes from the outside. We have a great chef and staff. They make everything from scratch here, for the most part from organic products or fresh product, okay? So we're changing the rule a little bit this year because of children who have allergies, and some of them have very, very serious allergies here, life-threatening allergies. And we used to let people bring in cupcakes for birthdays, right? So we had 2 issues with that, and it got a little bit out of hand, I should say, because then the teachers had to have the responsibility of reading the list of ingredients, of making the decision of whether they should let the cupcakes in or not. Very often they could not, and so parents would come in with very nice cupcakes that we had to send home or throw out. Okay, and number 2, consumption of cupcakes got out of control. So then, we have 330 kids, so that's a lot of birthdays, right? You can have a birthday a day, 2 birthdays a day, 3 birthdays a day. So kids would be, walking on sugar, high all day. So here's what we're going to do with cupcake. And this is not for toddler. This is not for nursery. Okay, but for pre-K and up, every Friday we'll make a nice cake. Okay, and we'll celebrate all the week's birthdays. Okay. The cake will be made here by our chef. It'll be nut-free and everything else that we need to be careful about. And we're just asking that you're not providing food for birthdays. Okay. Same thing with holidays. We like to invite parents to come celebrate holidays, read to the children, and everything. So when we celebrate Halloween or Thanksgiving or Hanukkah, we would love to have you come, read stories. Actually, the best thing to do if you really want to do something for the school is to get a nice book, read the story, donate it to the library with the child's name on it. But we'll provide the food, okay? And there's a system for that, on the website. I'll explain to you in further emails where you can actually ahead of time order food from Chef Tony. So he'll make potato latkes, he'll make anything, that we want to have. But we're so concerned that children here who could die, to tell you the truth, from eating the wrong thing would do that under our watch. Okay, that we're going to be pretty draconian about implementing this rule. Yes.
If we have questions about the food being served, does Chef Tony have an email?
Yep. Yep. T. DiStefano. He's in their book also. Okay. His last name is DiStefano. So, yep. He responds right away. We had a meeting this morning about a child in pre-K who, is allergic to dairy products, which we serve here, obviously, and what we're going to put in place to protect him. And he's very, very aware of allergies. And the kids are too. It's amazing. They'll go up to him. can I eat this today? Can I eat that? This has soy, this doesn't have soy. I mean, they're very, very aware. Because of course, the best thing to teach them is not to, just how to, that we want to protect them, but how they're going to become, advocates for themselves and what they need. Okay, all right. I just put this picture there because we just don't have a website just because everybody else does and to look good and whatever. All the information you possibly need, I guarantee you, is somewhere on this website. So, and when we give you your login information, your password, you'll get access to the parent portal. Everything you possibly need will be there. So it's a good place to go. It's a very active and dynamic website. It's constantly updated with new information. We videotape most assemblies. If you can't make it, click on it. You'll see what's going on and so on and so forth. Okay, so speaking about what's going on in being at school. So you have the calendar here. There's a ton of information that you don't know whether it's relevant to you or not. So I tried to pull out the dates that are really important. And there are two kinds. The ones that are important because I think they're really important, and the ones that are important because if you don't go, I know that your children will be disappointed because most parents attend. So I wanted to tell you ahead of time. Okay, first day of school, pretty obvious. Be great for everybody who are here. September 3rd. That's for pre-K through 8. And then first day of school for toddler and nursery is the following Monday after Labor Day. Okay, if you are in the upper school, you know that your children will be gone if you're in the 7th and 8th grade from September 10th through the 12th. And then if they're in 5th and 6th grade on the 11th and the 12th. So hopefully if they overlap, you get the night off. We take all your children away to Connecticut for 3 days and you get to have fun. But anyway, that's not like a trip that they want to miss. The reason why I'm telling you is because they love going on that trip. So please plan on being around. Okay, the 28th and the 23rd. Okay, Mrs. Lyons, I'm going to say what I say every year. Even if it's your 20th anniversary, your 25th, the most important thing you have, those are two dates that you should really, really save for us. Because on those nights, you're going to find out from your child's teachers what your children are going to be learning. And I can't think of anything more important when you're in a school than to actually find out from the teachers what the year is going to be like, all the excitement of the year. So if you're in grade N through 4, toddlers don't do that, but if you're in grade N through 4, please mark the 28th as a day that you should be here. The meeting starts at 6:30. If you're in grades 5 through 8, we call those nights curriculum nights or parents' night. Parent nights at 7 o'clock. Those are very, very important days. You'll get to meet with either in the lower school your child's teachers, in the upper school all of your child's teachers. Yes.
9/20 is a Sunday night.
Yeah, I think the lower school is the, I just went to check the calendar.
Did I miss?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the date is, I think it's actually the 17th. No, it should be the 18th, right, so it's Thursday the 18th.
18th, not the 28th. I apologize. Yeah, the 18th. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. We are an independent school. Here's what it means. It means we're self-governed by a board of trustees. We get to choose our curriculum. We get to choose our teachers. We get to choose our students. And we're mainly tuition funded. 90% of our budget comes from tuition, right? So now there's that 10% that we need to take care of. So some of it comes from other sources of revenue, but the bulk of that gap comes from fundraising. And we have 3 major events throughout the year: the fall fair, the spring gala, and the third one, which is not an event but goes throughout the year, the annual fund. The reason why I'm putting the fall fair out there is because it's like a homecoming, and the kids won't be happy if they don't get to go. I promise you, we have huge rides and food, and all the kids come. So you should reserve that Saturday and Sunday for them to be here. I think they'll be upset if they don't. That's what I'm telling you. We have 2 parent-teacher conferences for the year. You can meet with teachers whenever you want, really, but those are the 2 days that we guarantee that they'll be here from 1 to 8, and we'll send an online sign-up and everything. But mark October 22nd and March 19th, okay? Toddlers have separate dates. Okay, election day on November 4th is Parents' Day, and that's when you get to spend the morning with your child and sort of shadow your own child and spend, the morning with him or with her or with them. So The reason why I'm pointing out that day is because I would say 90% of the parents attend. So I just, again, as new parents, sometimes you don't know what you should attend or should not attend, but that's a day that's very well attended. Then I know children would feel a little bit awkward having all the parents, with them and not you. If you can't make it, sometimes there's somebody else will come and so on and so forth. Is there any first grade parents here? Second grade? No. Okay, so I'm going to skip that. The week of February 26th through the 29th, if you're in second grade and up, that's the week that we administer a standardized test called the CTPs. Okay, we cannot re-administer it. So if they miss a day, if they're not here that week, it's gone. We can't do anything about it. So I just want to make sure that you're not planning any time when you can't be here between the 26th of February and the 29th. Anybody in kindergarten? Yes, you said, okay. You don't want to miss this. I know it's down the road, but I know you're very busy, and which is September 11th. The kindergartners put a circus together. Mrs. Lyons can tell you about it. I mean, it's a huge deal for them, and they really want their parents to be there, or one of them. Fourth graders? No. Okay, I'm going to skip that. Okay, May 8th is Grandparents and Special Friends Day. Same thing. And actually, for kids, unfortunately, as they get to Mr. Klein's division, some of them don't have their grandparents anymore. We really find ways to find special friends for them. So either you find a special friend or somebody else in the school. Chef Tony will be somebody's special friend, or Nurse Paige, or everything like that. That's a day if you have your parents around or somebody that you want to plan ahead, because kids are very disappointed where they don't have somebody to be with them, right? We say kindergarten. The 15th is also really important for kindergartners. They have a field day. We say no fourth graders. Third grade parents? No. Last day of school is June 9th for everybody in the lower school. And commencement, which all upper school students have to attend, is June 10th. Okay, that's really the gist of what I've wanted to tell you. We may not have answered all your questions, so I'm just wondering if you have any more questions, maybe not just to me, but to anybody else who's here. Could we have answered all your questions? I don't know. One of the reasons why we didn't want to have this meeting in August is, as you can tell, the building is not exactly ready for opening yet. But we're going to be here all weekend with our Windex and everything, and we're going to get this building going. But we're redoing the floors. We're redoing 2 science labs. We're opening an iLab, which is our innovation room for kids to go in and develop their creativity. So we're very excited. So we have a week to get everything ready. And we'll be ready, right? You have your steps tool and your index ready?
Excellent.
So, all right. Well, if you don't have any further questions, I think we kept a little bit over an hour. I apologize. If you have any more questions, you could, division heads are here, Mrs. Duffy, Mrs. Blaine, and Mr. Ethan. Okay? All right, enjoy your last week of vacation, and I'll see you soon.